All right, so for our warm-up today, we're going to practice 3 different what's called hand building methods of working with clay. So anytime you're doing a hand building method, you're basically using your hands along with clay and clay tools, not the potter's wheel, to create something. So the 3 main hand building methods that I feel like we learn in school are the pinch pot. Okay, so that could be a base for whatever you're creating, a coil, which is an even strand of clay, and then last but not least, a slab. Okay, so a slab is kind of a flat, even pancake of clay. Now, the first one that we are going to practice is going to be the slab. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take your smush of clay and you are going to press it as evenly to the table as you can. Okay, you can also kind of pick it up and form it in your hands. Okay, like so. And the goal with this, as you're working with the clay, is to check the thickness. Okay, so you want it to be even thickness. Now, typically, if you're working on something in class, I will use the slab roller for you in order for you to get an even piece of clay, even slab of clay. But you can always kind of smush it with your hand like so on the table and then smooth it out so that it is even thickness. Okay, so while you're doing this along with me, what you don't want to have happen is something be really thin like this. Okay, one area of your clay to be really sort of thin and narrow and the other to be thick, all within the same piece of clay. Okay, it affects how it dries and then sometimes how it's fired as well. Okay, so what'll happen is the thin part of your clay will dry out first and the thicker part will retain moisture. All right, so just kind of take your thumb as a good finger to use on this. Okay, smooth over any cracks, just put some pressure on it to make it as even all the way around as possible, so even thickness. So this is looking pretty good, even though it's not really a uniform shape. Okay, so that is the slab, even thickness, flat piece of clay. So think pancake of clay. All right, now the next thing we're going to do is we are going to create a pinch pot. So I'm going to take this slab in my hand and I'm going to crush it. And I am going to use my hands to roll it like so. I can also roll it on the table, okay? And I want to point out a couple things about this. There we go. All right, zoom out. So you can roll it on the table to make it nice and round. So do that along with me. You can also take your hands like so and roll it together. Okay, and the goal with rolling it is you want, if you have huge lumps and bumps, when you use the palm of your hand like this and put different amounts of pressure on it or different amounts of pressure on the table, the goal is to get it as into a perfect sphere as possible. Okay, now at a certain point, once you feel like you've gotten it into a sphere, what I want you to do before you start opening this into a pinch pot is, if you see any small cracks or crevices, just take a little bit of water in your finger and smooth over those before you create your pinch pot. Your pinch pot, you always want to start with a sphere of clay that is as perfect as you can get it, okay, within reason. And the reason for that is as you begin to put pressure on your sphere and open it up into a pinch pot, we want it to open up gradually and have walls of even thickness. Okay, so I'm just kind of looking for little cracks and crevices. Note, I am not adding a ridiculous amount of water to this, okay, because anytime you add a lot of water, it becomes unworkable. Okay, it becomes a muddy mess because this is just mud that comes out of the earth. All right, so this is what I have so far. This is looking pretty good to get us started. Okay, also one thing to be mindful of as we're opening up our pinch pot, the more you handle it, the more your clay will dry out. Okay, so just be aware of that. What I'm going to do at this point that I have my perfect sphere, or as close to perfect as I can get it, is I am going to take my thumb and I am going to stick it about 3/4 the way through the piece of clay that I have. Okay, so it kind of looks like this. Then I'm going to take these 3 fingers and I'm going to put even amounts of pressure on it okay, as I rotate the ball of clay on my thumb. Okay, so this is what I have so far. So I'm doing even pinches. Okay, what you don't want to do with a pinch pot is do one really hard pinch and then one really soft pinch, and so you have a thin area and a thick area. Okay, so I'm going to do multiple pinch rotations going around multiple times, okay, to start opening this up. Okay, now a couple things I can do to open this up even more. So right now I have some walls of even thickness. I'm going to share with you how to kind of open it up more. But before I do that, see how there are some cracks that have formed around sort of the rim of my pinch pot? Before I go any further, take a little bit of water on your finger and smooth over those. The clay is starting to dry out as I handle it, so I want to make sure that I smooth those areas out. Okay. Now to open up the pinch pot more, I can use my fingers kind of like this on the inside, okay, as long as I support the clay with my hand on the outside, all right? So I can kind of do something that looks like this. I can use my thumb, I can use fingers, and if I'm going to pull it here, I'm going to support it here, okay? If I don't support it, I'm going to create walls of uneven thickness, which affect drying and firing, okay? So I'm kind of pulling and pushing the clay in different ways, just making sure to kind of cup it in my hand like so. If I pull the clay like this on the outside with my thumb, I'm supporting inside with my fingers, okay? What you are looking to do with your pinch pot is you're looking for walls of even thickness, okay? So the rim of your pinch pot should not be thinner than the base of it. Okay. All right, and as you'll notice, as I start messing with this, there's little cracks that form. Please make those go away with a little bit of water in your finger. You can continue to open this up and make it larger. I'm gonna stop here right now. So this is my little pinch pot I have made, okay? Fix those cracks in the surface. Just with a little pressure, a little bit of water on your finger. And again, if you're putting pressure on the outside, support it with your other hand on the inside, okay? Pinch pot is the second hand building method. Now at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to crush it like so, and I am going to peel off a little piece of it, okay? Just to start. And what I'm going to do is create kind of a smush or the beginning of a strand of clay that is going to become a coil, okay? Now, lots of students have created coil pots before. That's great. The goal with this is to create a strand of even thickness, okay? So I'm going to use the palm of my hand, and I am going to put pressure on the center of it and work my hand out this way, and then I'm gonna put pressure on the center of it and work my hand out this way. Okay, so the goal is I want to use the palm of my hand and I want to create even pressure. And I have a feeling this is going to be a very bumpy video. So I'm shaking the table accidentally. Okay, so center outward, center outward. Sorry, y'all. Let me move this over to the side just very briefly. Try not to shake y'all too bad. There we go. Okay, so center outward like so, using again mainly the palm of your hand minus your fingers. Center outward like so. Center outward. Center outward. Okay, so the goal with this is to use the palm of your hand. Okay, less so with the fingers, okay, because if a lot of times kids, as you all use your fingers, you put uneven pressure on it. So we want even pressure with the palm of our hand. So center outward like so. Okay, so you want a strand of even thickness. For this case, just practice making it about the same thickness as a pencil. Okay, what your coil should not look like right now is it should not look like thinner and then thicker and things like that. It should be even thickness. So those are the 3 hand building methods that we are going to be practicing. You can use any of those methods. You can use any of those methods to create your game pieces for your tic-tac-toe themed game board.